Looking very well, looking very healthy. Holiday time?
No, I had a binging weekend.
It's always a good thing.
Yeah, that always helps.
Yeah.
Keeps the peaches in the cheeks.
Yeah. And you're here to talk about, well, several things really. You've got a greatest hits coming out, and you're involved with classical music at the moment as well.
Indeed.
We'll talk plenty more about that in a moment, but let's have your first song choice. I know you're a big fan of Simon and Garfunkel. Which one of those are you going to choose?
Well, actually, as a little introduction, I grew up in New York in the 60s, and Simon and Garfunkel put this song out, and I'll tell you what the song was in a minute. And Tom Wilson, who was the producer of the song, pulled the song and put drums, bass, and guitar, electric. Because it wasn't happening, and this was like the beginning of folk rock. And the song was Sounds of Silence. And when it went out first as a folk song, didn't make it. And they came back and put this stuff out in the studio, sent it back out, and went right to #1. And it was really the beginning of the whole folk rock movement, as far as I remember, And it certainly is one of my very favorites of Simon and Garfunkel.
Very lovely indeed, The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. And our man was around at the time when those songs were being recorded in New York in the 1970s, but your musical career goes back into the 1960s, David.
Yeah, it sure does.
When you were, what's all this about the covered man?
Oh, well.
Explain that.
I was serious about that, actually. When I was married and divorced by the time I was 22. I was married.
I don't know whether to congratulate you or to commiserate.
I had a son, so forth. And it was at that point that I felt I had to get out of Minneapolis. And the escape was more of an escape to New York than it was going to New York to fulfill a dream, But one thing I did decide was that I didn't want to go, because I was a kind of a blonde-eyed, blue-eyed, blonde Norwegian pretty boy at the time. And I didn't want to be known for what I looked like. I wanted to be known for my music. And I felt the best way to be heard for my music was to cover my face.
Right.
So I put a mask on my head with 2 eyes and a mouth.
This is on TV?
Well, this was before even TV. I sent my contract. I sent my demo tape, a picture of me with this mask on, out to William Morris Agency in New York.
Yeah. And
a couple of weeks later, I get contracts back in all fields. They're signing me in every area, but they don't know what I look like. So I used that as an excuse to hop on a Greyhound bus and go out to New York as a kid, like the Midnight Cowboy. And I wouldn't take the mask off. And so for the first 4 months that I was in New York, I kept this mask on. And I would say one line: "My name is David Soul, and I want to be known for my music." And then I would shut up and play. And the only thing I did was to sing. And so there was a manager at the time who kind of looked after me and spoke for me. David means this, or David said that, or whatever. But I wouldn't talk, and it drove people crazy.
Hey, you got to have a gimmick though, haven't you? That's what they say.
But it wasn't a gimmick.
All right.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't.
For you, it wasn't.
It wasn't a gimmick at
Right.
all.
Okay.
But it's sort of. And then I took the mask off, and of course, then the first thing they said is put back the mask.
Yeah,
I signed to MGM Records and put out a song called I Am the Covered Man with the Blues Project. Now they were all these guys were all working at the Brill Building, like Simon and Garfunkel and the Blues Project, Carole King, John Sebastian, Eric Burden. Everybody was working together in this kind of 1960s. It was like a hotbed of creativity. And anyway, and I kind of fell in there with this stupid mask. I remember Al Cooper sitting on a bench in a studio with Al Cooper, the great organist, organ guy, played for Dylan all the time. And these guys thought I was absolutely wacko, but they said, "Hey, he believes in it. Might as well let's help him out." So they backed me on the covered song, "The Covered Man." Someday I'll play it for you.
Well, it was the 60s, wasn't it?
It was the 60s.
And right at the end of the 60s, we come to the first song by a man who's had, quite a career. You could say Elton John.
Yeah, I think he's got a future, this guy. Yeah. Anyway, to tail this story, I met Elton John in like 1977. He was there at the Greek Theater, and of course Starsky and Hutch was a big show at that time. And there were very few people that I was really, like, whoa.
Yes.
And he was one of them. When I first heard that first album that he did, it just blew me away. You know, it's a little bit like when I first heard James Taylor. You know, everybody, it was so fresh in those days, and the lyrics and the music was so accessible and clean. I loved it. Anyway, I met him backstage, but the song that really jumped, I would have played Rocket Man or something like that, because I love that. I love all those Crocodile Rock or any of those songs. But this is the first one that really blew me away. Elton John, This Is Your Song.
Beautiful.
Comes in.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Coffee break.
That's good.
Right.
So,
And the next one will be Sinead O'Connor, yeah?
All right.
Okay. Sunday night, Magic 105.4. This is Paul Fear, spending some time enjoying the musical choices of our guest on the programme, David Soul, tonight. And you're involved in the world of classical music.
I am indeed.
With a project for the BBC called Maestro.
Yes, indeed.
Music Maestro, please. What's it all about?
Well, it's, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's been on the air now a couple of weeks. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's, it's 8 of us, and then one is eliminated each week, competing as conductors of symphonic music, choral music, opera, and film music. And I know we've had a baton boot camp that was back in May,
Right.
and then we had a training period in June, and then we started up again in August, you know.
And I think the aim is, the winner of this, the final one, will conduct a concert at the Proms.
At the last night of the Proms in the Park.
Okay, in Hyde Park. Yeah.
And we'll be doing, whoever that person might be, we'll be doing Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, the first movement.
Right. Which is the famous da-da-da-da.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
And then a piece of our choice, well, which I'm not sure yet what my choice will be. It's somewhere between, I don't know, maybe something from Leonard Bernstein, or maybe something as well known as the Lone Ranger theme, William Tell Overture.
Yeah. Well, you need a crowd pleaser, because it's going to be a
absolutely.
huge crowd.
That's
in
what I'm
Hyde Park,
thinking.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, I had an idea that this thing was going to be pretty much what most people think about to conducting. A guy stands up there flapping their arms around and nobody pays attention to him anyway. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Really.
It's a very precise, very specific thing. Whether people pay attention or not is really up to the conductor.
Yes.
You know, it's up to the conductor to interpret the music and to cue these people and bring them in, almost invite them in. It's more of a communication process. But if you're going to communicate, you have to be spot on in terms of the metronome that's going on behind it. So it's a real discipline. It's a real craft.
How is your rhythm? Do you have a good rhythm?
I'm getting there.
Maybe we should ask some of your girlfriends about it.
Yeah, right. Which one? Which rhythm? No, never mind. But yeah, it's a very precise thing, and it takes a long time. To multitask is basically what you're doing, because on one hand you're keeping the tempo, the rhythm going,
and that's got to stay.
and that's got to stay.
Yeah.
You can slow it down, but you always got to come back to it, you know. And on the other hand, it's like inviting the various sections in.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, patting your stomach, rubbing your head, kind of thing. So it's it's been a real challenge, but very exciting. How can I say? It's exhilarating. When you
Because you have over 100 musicians there, and they're all looking for you for guidance. They want, show us how to play this piece of music, David Soul.
Yeah, and they've been instructed to do just that.
Yeah.
You see.
Okay, so they're not,
they have to pay attention because they've been told to pay attention.
So
Even
they
if
can't
don't,
just
under
do the
normal
right thing.
circumstances, they have to pay attention. I'd say it's a lot scarier to face them than it is to turn around, pick up my guitar, and sing a song to 10,000 people.
I can imagine so. Do you want to win?
Well, he said humbly, I don't really care.
Oh, you do. You want?
You know what? The closer you get to
Yes,
it,
I bet.
the more you want to
Stand there in Hyde Park.
the more you want to win.
Maybe you do a cover of this song by it's lovely orchestral music here with Prince's song "Nothing Compares to You."
Yeah.
It's a really simple arrangement by Sinead O'Connor. Why have you chosen her song?
Well, there are some songs that I attach to certain times and places. And this one, I'm a great skier. I love skiing. I've skied since I was 6 years old. And I was in the Austrian Alps skiing on a glacier at Utztal. And it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun was setting over the mountains. Parking lot was just about empty. The PA system was still on in the parking lot, and they played, whatever was happening, contemporary music. And I got my beer and came out and stood on the porch of this chalet, looking out over the mountains, and on came Shadedos, nothing compares to you. And it echoed off mountain peaks around, and it was like I was taken to another place. I mean, I was there, but it was like unbelievably beautiful. And so that's the song that's always stuck with me. Besides the fact that Prince and I both came from Minneapolis, as did Dylan.
We're going to have so much to talk about with you. Okay, Brothers in Arms will be the next tune. Okay. David Soul is with us tonight on Magic 105.4 for Indulgence. Did you know 4 seasons of Starsky and Hutch? That's all.
That's all.
But everybody still remembers it. Anybody who grew up like me in the 1970s remembers Saturday night. Great lineup on BBC One television. Generation Game. Before Match of the Day was because you were obviously living in the States at this time. Were you aware of the huge impact that you were having on the British public with that series?
No, I wasn't. The first year, we weren't aware of the impact it was having anywhere, because the first year we were sort of closeted away. Cocooned on 20th Century Fox lot, working 14 to 16 hours a day to make the show. It was only after the first year that we, and I was invited over here. At that time, the Sun newspaper had a award show, the Sun Television Awards, I think it was called. And Starsky and Hutch was voted the most popular dramatic show of that year. I think it was 77, I think, 76. And I came over, and at that point, I realized what an impact it had made in this country. And I think developed I think one of the reasons that I'm here today, living here with a UK citizenship, is because in those early days, we developed such a lovely relationship. I had such a good relationship with England, with the UK.
Yeah.
And of course, Starsky and Hutch, though it only ran for 4 years, it's amazing. It's still running. It's still running internationally.
Somewhere, somebody is sitting down enjoying Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah,
running around.
That's at the end of the day, you got to say that if you can create one thing in your life, in this business of entertainment, that people remember, and that has been part of their matriculation, part of their growth, important moment in their life, you've done a pretty good job.
And it was a good show, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah, it was a great show.
Good,
great relationship. I still have with Paul.
Yeah.
And so and with Antonio Vargas, who played Huggy Bear. So that was
good. They're still around as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah. Yeah. Paul and I are on the phone with each other at least once a month. Talking about this, that, and the other, whatever. Yeah. So a lifetime friendship was formed, and that's great.
Special and rare as well, isn't it? Which kind of leads us nicely into Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits.
What a lead. Okay, the reason that I chose this is this. I mean, over the years, I love the guitar, but over the years, I've had some very favorite guitar players. Jimmy Page has to be one from Led Zeppelin. He wrote a song for me, actually, that I recorded. Carlos Santana, I hung out with Santana and people in San Francisco back in the late 60s, early 70s. Jeff Skunk Baxter from Steely Dan, he also recorded with me. And I love Stevie Ray Vaughan a lot before he died, God rest his soul. But I got to say that my favorite is the understated Mark Knopfler. He teaches, it's not always what you play, it's what you don't play. And this has to be one of my very favorite of the Dire Straits anthems, Brothers in Arms.
It's beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah, good.
Good.
We're back on Indulgence with David Soul, our guest this evening. Gosh, there's so much we could talk about. I saw you in the theatre in a couple of things. I saw you in Mac and Mabel,
Did you?
which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And Jerry Springer, the opera.
Yeah.
Which, you know, if I wasn't going to hell before, I loved. I've got to say, I loved so much of that
You
show.
laughed yourself all the way to hell, did you?
Yes, I am. I'm on the way. I'm on the way.
Yeah, that's great. What experience.
Interesting though that you're a singer. You had a non-singing role. You were obviously Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
And you were great because he came along to some of the shows, didn't he?
Well, yeah, but I didn't join Jerry Springer the opera until after they moved to the West End.
Oh, right.
It played the National first. That's where
that was with Michael Brandon, wasn't
Yeah.
it? And then you. Okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I went to see Michael just after they moved, and I had been offered the role of Jerry Springer when it was playing in Edinburgh at the festival up there. So as a kind of workshop piece. And I said, Jerry Springer, the opera? You got to be out of your mind. No, I'm not going to do that. And then it was picked up at the National and won every possible award. You know, best this, best that, best everything. And they moved to the West End, and I went down to see Michael, who's an old friend. And after the show, I was blown away, and I went up to his dressing room and I said, Michael, listen, if you ever want to take a vacation, let me know. I'd love to do this part.
Yeah.
Well, sure enough, a couple of weeks later, Michael took off. He wanted to move on, and I met with Stuart Lee and Richard Thomas, who wrote the piece, and we decided that I was going to do it.
And it's your performance that was recorded by the BBC, isn't
Yeah,
it? And the one that caused so much controversy when people
yeah.
actually realised some of the stuff this opera was dealing with.
Yeah. Well, you know, if they understood what the play was about,
Yes.
they might not have screamed so loudly.
It reminded me so much of Life of Brian, where people just couldn't, what's the word I'm looking for, couldn't separate what was going on stage from what they were thinking in their minds.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, for my money, the show is about how television is misused to exploit people without really caring about them. It's just, as long as it's entertainment, you know, we don't really care about what happens to these folks.
Yeah.
And of course, in Jerry Springer, the first half of the show is about these people who come on and they're all wackos. Yeah, but they're real people.
Yeah.
And in the second half, they're all dead now.
Yeah.
And they come back, you know, saying, this is what you did to my life.
Yes. Yeah.
This is what you did to my life. And then, of course, the warm-up man from the first act becomes the devil and drags Jerry down into hell to do a show from hell, because the devil wants an apology. You know, and this just caused all kinds of problems. This is, you know, we can't do that. You want to have, you know, and expect to get an apology from Christ, an apology from Mary, you know, and Adam and Eve. Well, maybe Adam, you know, but or maybe Eve.
Come to think of it. Come more like Eve.
Anyway,
and
it was a brilliant show.
And the tap dancing finale.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we're not going to spoil it for everybody now by saying that the entire cast come on and they're all dressed as Jerry Springer and they tap dance down the stairs. That was
She's great, wasn't it?
remarkable theatre.
Yeah.
Amy Winehouse now
Yeah.
brings us a bit more up to date, but a classic song.
Yeah, really. I got to say that, you know, as an old warrior, I can't believe I'm saying that about myself, an old warrior of the 70s. It really warms my heart to see a contemporary artist like Amy, who's wonderful, picking up on the magic that was Carole, or is Carole King. She wrote so many brilliant songs. And whether it was yesterday or today, the sentiments are the same. A great song is always a great song. That's why they call them standards. And here is Amy Winehouse, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow?
All right, we're coming on. Oh, there we are. Let's speeding. All right, just a quickie then, okay. David Soul's with us on Indulgence tonight. You briefly touched on it a second ago. You're a British citizen now, but I think you're jointly American and British
I am.
citizen.
I have both.
Who do you prefer?
Well,
You're the same.
when in Britain, do as the Brits. I'm a whinger, is what I am.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Official whinger. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. What about this weather, eh?
Yeah. Oh man, are you kidding me? What am I doing here? I should be back in LA.
You could be in
crazy.
anywhere.
I'm crazy to be here.
You could be anywhere. But it is nice to have you with us. David Soul, and you've got a lot to whinge about as well, because you're an Arsenal fan too.
I am an Arsenal fan, and I'm very proud to have my British citizenship.
Yeah.
I really am.
When did that happen? Shall I tell you? Apparently in 2004.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously meant a lot.
Actually, it happened in 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was September.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and a quick song now from the Bee Gees, and there's so much you can choose from all those eras. I mean, they're kind of a bit like you, really, aren't they? They've just kind of reinvented themselves.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Time and time again.
Now, when I had this as a memory when I first arrived in LA back in 1967. Now, I'm not into drugs, never really have been, but I was loaded this one night, lying on my back on Fountain Avenue in some apartment. And he put the new album of the Bee Gees on. Hey, you gotta hear this, you know. And I heard this song and played it over and over and over and over and again. And loaded. But it was wonderful to love somebody.
We're back, and time is running out with our guest on Indulgence this evening.
I didn't like the sound of that.
And
time is running out.
You're looking very well, David.
Do I have a last meal, or offer anything here at Capital? Anything?
You are looking very well there, David, and it is good to have you with us at Magic 105.4.
Oh, shoot.
So I was ready with the edit.
Can we retake that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I like the lead in, and then I screwed it up.
No, it's all right. It doesn't matter at all. David Soul is with us tonight on Magic 105.4. Time is running out for us within this hour, David.
I didn't like the way you said that. The
well,
time is running out for me or for us?
For us.
Oh.
You're looking very well and
Thank
moving on forwards, and also
I am.
doing a bit of looking back as well with the greatest.
Oh, well, that was a good. That's the name of the album. Looking back.
Yeah.
The very best of David Soul. It's a compilation of 20 tracks with all the hits on there, but then also with some choices, because you know, going to sound philosophical now, but life isn't just about successes or hits. It's also about emotion. It's about ups and downs, highs and lows, and so these songs kind of reflect and represent some of those highs and lows in my own life over the last 30 years.
You're obviously a huge music lover as well as a performer yourself. I'm wondering, you know, you've been involved with this Maestro show. Mm-hmm. Has it, learning about music in this way, affected the way you think about your own music or other people's music?
It's certainly expanded my appreciation of classical music. I mean, I grew up, I guess, in a house, in a home, where classical music was all that was played, you know, Bach and so forth. And because the, you know, pop music, Elvis Presley and people like that I was growing up with, was not allowed in the house. You know, obviously you want what you can't have, you know. So classical music, and my mother singing Lieder from Brahms and Schubert and Schumann and all this kind of thing was just like, oh, please don't, come on, I can't hear this anymore. I'm gonna give me some candy, give me something. Eventually, I escaped from that, but coming back to it now, I see how hip these guys really were. I mean, there is some brilliant stuff going on with these composers, from Tchaikovsky to Beethoven to Brahms to Bizet to Shostakovich. I mean, they're just fantastic musicians. And if you have a chance to look at this music and sort of pull it apart, and now I can go to a concert and really enjoy what I'm listening to. And so I guess in that sense, it's, you know, that's one of the real values of having been a part of this experience, that it's opened me up. You're never too old to learn.
What a great philosophy. and a new version of your probably best-known hit, Don't Give Up on Us. You've kind of cubed this for me.
Yeah.
Is there such a word as cubed?
Yeah, I guess cubicized.
Yeah, cubicized. It's in the dictionary.
Yeah, well, the first thing I did when I got my UK passport was to go to Cuba, because with the US passport, it's not too easy to get in, not too hard to get in, but getting back into the country, US. Where'd you get this, boy? You were in Havana.
You're scaring me now.
Yeah, that's what you get. But with UK passport, of course, there's no problem. So I went to Cuba on an invitation to give a musical award at the Karl Marx Theater in Havana. And I met this wonderful band called Buena Fe that were performing the same night I was presenting this award. And we became friends, exchanged some of our music, and hooked up with them again in Madrid a few months later. And Buena Fe, they were called, and we said, they said, gee, we love this song. Don't give up on us, man. You know, No, baby. I said, baby. Baby. He said, let's record it. I said, well, sure, why not? So I came back to London and put a basic track down with my vocal on it and shipped it off to Havana to these guys. They went in the studio, arranged it. You know, I didn't know what they were going to do. Put their instrumentation on it, their vocals on it, sent it back to me, and it's cubicized. I think it's great, and I was just thrilled. You know, and also to sort of give it up. As opposed
somebody
to
else
give up on it,
Yeah.
to give it up
Yeah.
to somebody else for their interpretation and be part of that. Yeah, it's great.
Don't give up on us. Memories of 1977 and David Soul on Magic 105.4. Time's been us again, David, and it's been great having you with
I
us.
thought he would never leave.
Is he still here?
He's still here, but time's running out, folks. So if you haven't turned us on yet, do it now, because this is the last couple of moments we got.
What a show you missed as well. With Maestro coming up and this greatest hits, it's all going on, isn't it, for David Soul?
Yeah, I'm just finishing
Enjoy
with
the
my coffee.
yeah. Before we kick you out.
Thanks. No, things are happening, and I'm really happy with where I'm at these days. It's a lot of fun.
More theatre as well, please.
Most what?
More theatre.
More theater.
Yeah.
Definitely more theater. Got to get back into that too. So.
And now with the greatest hits album out, will you ever perform these songs live? Will you get...
Oh God, I hope so. I'm planning to. In fact, I'm planning to do more recording now with Buena Fe. We have a few songs that we're going to be working on, and then I'd like to go out with them for a while. The whole kind of new approach to the music is something I like. More acoustic, more sort of Latin flavored stuff, but in the same sort of style. Not style. I don't have a style. I guess I do, but I don't. But I do. But it's one of those things. I'm not sure what I am.
You got something.
I'm something. So I'd like to go out and perform.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of Addy listeners would love to see you doing some of those tunes
thank you.
again.
I hope so.
David Soul, thank you very much indeed for your time this evening.
I really enjoyed it. Except for my one faux pas.
Yes, that's what I think.
I'm in the capital.
You've been listening to Magic Indulgence with more than indulging you with its personal customer manager service. You can download this interview in full at magic.co.uk/podcasts.